The enormous crocodile is planning what to have for his lunch. This foul fiend, the greediest cook in the whole river, wants to eat something juicy and delicious. His teeth sparkle like knives in the sun, and he's getting hungrier and hungrier. But what can the greedy grumptious brute guzzle up? Beware! He's looking for someone that looks a lot like you. In the biggest, browniest, muddiest river in Africa, 2 crocodiles with their heads just above the water. 2 crocodiles lay with heads just above the water. One of the crocodiles was enormous. The other one was not so big. Do you know what I would like for my lunch today? The enormous crocodile asked. No, the not-so-big one said. What? The enormous crocodile grinned, showing hundreds of sharp white teeth. For my lunch today, he said, I would like a nice, juicy little child. I never eat children, the not-so-big ones. Only fish. Oh, cried the enormous crocodile. I bet if you saw a fat, juicy little child paddling in the water over there this very minute, you'd gobble him up in one gulp. No, I wouldn't, the not-so-big one said. Children are too tough and chewy. They're tough and chewy and nasty and bitter. Tough and chewy? Nasty and bitter? What awful tummy rot you took. They are juicy and yummy. They taste so bitter, not-so-big one said. You have to cover them up with sugar before you can eat them. Children are bigger fish than fish. You get bigger helpings. You're greedy, the not-so-big one said. You're the greediest croc in the whole river. I'm the bravest croc in the whole river, said the enormous crocodile. I'm the only one who dares to leave the water and go through the jungle to the town to look for little children to eat. You've only done that once, the not-so-big one said. And what happened then? They all saw you coming and ran away. But today when I go, they won't see me at all, said the crocodile. Of course they'll see you, the not-so-big one said. You're so enormous and ugly, they'll see you from miles away. The enormous crocodile grinned again, and his terrible sharp teeth sparkled like knives in the sun. No one will see me, he said, because this time I've thought up secret plans and clever tricks. Clever tricks, cried the not-so-big one. You've never done anything clever in your life. You're the stupidest croc in the whole river, and the cleverest croc in the whole river. For my lunch today, I shall feast upon a fat, juicy child while you lie here in the river feeling hungry. Goodbye. The enormous crocodile swam to the side of the river and crawled out the water. A gigantic creature was standing in the slimy, oozy mud on the river bank. It was Humpy Rumpy, the hippopotamus. Hello, hello, said Humpy Rumpy. Where on earth are you off to at this time of day? I have secret plans and clever tricks. Oh dear, said Humpy Rumpy. I bet you're going to do something horrid. The enormous crocodile grinned at Humpy Rumpy and said, I'm going to fill my hungry, empty tummy with something yummy, 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 yummy. What's so yummy? Said Humpy. Try to get it something that walks on 2 legs, said Humpy Rumpy. You don't really mean you're going to eat a little child? Of course I am. Oh, you horrid, greedy, grumptious brute, cried Humpy Rumpy. I hope you get caught and cooked and turned into crocodile soup. The enormous crocodile laughed out loud at Humpy Rumpy. Then he waddled off into the jungle. Inside the jungle, he met Trunky the elephant. Trunky was nibbling leaves on the top of a tall tree. He didn't notice that the crocodile was at first, so the crocodile bit him on the leg. Ow, said Trunky in his big, deep voice. Who did that? Oh, true. You beastly crocodile, why don't you go back to the big brown muddy river where you belong? I have secret plans and clever tricks. You mean you've got nasty plans and nasty tricks? You've never done a nice thing in your life. I'm off to find an lummy child for lunch. Keep listening and you'll hear the bones go crunch. Oh, you wicked beastly beast! Oh, you foul-lunch filthy fiend! I hope you get squashed and squished and squeezed and pointed up into crocodile store. The enormous crocodile laughed out loud and disappeared into the thick jungle. A bit further on, he met Mugwump the monkey. Mugwump was sitting in a tree eating them. "Hello, Crocky," said Mugwump. "What are you up to now?" "I have secret plans and clever tricks. Would you like some nuts?" asked Mugwump. "I have better things to eat than nuts." "I didn't think there was anything better than nuts," said Mugwump. "Aha!" said the enormous crocodile. "The sort of things I'm going to eat has fingers, toenails, arms, and legs, and feet." Mugwump went pale and began to shake all over. "You aren't really going to gobble up a little child, are you?" "Of course I am," said the crocodile. "Clothes and all. They taste better with their clothes on. Thank goodness." "You horrid hoggish croc! You slimy creature! I hope those buttons and buckles will stick in your throat and choke you to death." Crow grinned at Mugwump. "I eat monkeys too." And quick as a flash, with one bite of his huge jaw, he picked for the tree that Mugwump was sitting in, and down it came. But just in time, Mugwump jumped onto the next tree and swung away through the branches. A bit further on, the enormous crocodile met the roly-poly bird. The roly-poly bird was building a nest in an orange tree. Hello there, enormous crocodile," roly-poly bird. "We don't often see you in the jungle." "Ah," said the crocodile, "I have secret plans and clever tricks. I hope it's not something nasty," sang the roly-poly bird. "Nasty?" cried the crocodile. "Of course it's not. It's not nasty. It's delicious. It's luscious. It's super. It's muscious. It's duper. It's better than rotten old fish. You mush it and munch it. You chew it and you crunch it. It's lovely to hear you go squish. Berries are my favorite food in the world. Is it raspberries, perhaps? Or could it be strawberries?" The enormous crocodile laughed so much his teeth rattled together like pennies in a money box. "Crocodiles don't eat berries. We eat little boys and girls. And sometimes we eat roly-poly birds as well." Very quickly, the crocodile reached up and stabbed his jaw to the roly-poly bird. He just missed the bird, but managed to catch hold of the long, beautiful feathers in its tail. "No, the feathers! No!" At last, the enormous crocodile came out of the other side of the jungle into the sunshine. He could see the town not far away. "Ho, ho," he said, talking to himself. "Ha, ha, that walk through the jungle made me hungrier than ever. One child isn't going to be enough." The enormous crocodile crept over to a place where there were lots of coconut trees. Now that children from the town often came here looking for coconuts. The tree was too tall for them to climb, but there were always some coconuts on the ground that had fallen down. The enormous crocodile quickly collected all the coconuts that were lying on the ground. He also gathered together several fallen branches. "Now for clever trick number 1, he whispered to himself. "It won't be long before I'm eating the first part of my lunch." He grasped the coconut in his front paws. Then he stood straight up in the air, balancing himself on his tail. He arranged the branches in the coconut so cleverly that he now looked exactly like a small coconut tree standing among the big coconut trees. Soon 2 children came along. They were brother and sister. The boy was called Toto. His sister was called Mary. They walked around looking for fallen coconuts, but they couldn't find any because the enormous crocodile had gathered them up. "Oh, look!" cried Toto. "That tree over there is much smaller than the others, and it's full of coconuts. I think I could climb that one quite easily if you help me up the first bit." Toto and Mary ran for what they thought was the small coconut tree. The enormous crocodile peered through the branches, watching them as they came closer and closer. He licked his lips. He began to dribble with excitement. Suddenly, there was a tremendous whooshing noise. It was Humpy Rumpy the hippo. He came crashing and snorting out of the jungle. His head was down low and he was galloping at a terrific speed. "Look out, Toto!" shouted Humpy Rumpy. "Look out, Mary! That's on the coconut tree. It's the enormous crocodile and he wants to eat you up." Humpy Rumpy charged straight to the enormous crocodile. He hit him. He caught him with his giant head and sent him tumbling and skidding over the ground. "Owie!" cried the crocodile. "Help! Stop! Where am I?" Toto and Mary ran back to town as fast as they could. So tough. It's difficult for even a hippopotamus to hurt them. He was crooked up and picked himself up and crept towards where the children's playground was. "Now for clever trick number 2, he said to himself. "This one's certain to work." There were no children in the playground at the moment. They were all in school. The enormous crocodile found a large piece of wood and placed it in the middle of the playground. Then he laid across the piece of wood and tucked in his feet. So it looked exactly like a seesaw. When school was over, the children came rushing to the playground. "Oh, look!" they cried. "We got a new seesaw!" They all crowded round, shouting with excitement. "Bugs, I'll have the first to go. I'll get on the other end. I want to go first." "So do I. So do I." Then a girl who was older than the others. "It's a rather funny, knobbly seesaw, isn't it? Do you think it'll be safe to sit on?" The enormous crocodile opened one eye just a tiny bit and watched the children who were crowding around him. Soon he thought one of them was going to sit on my head. And they'll give a chuck and a snap and it will be yum, yum, yum. At that moment there was a flash of brown and something jumped into the playground and hopped on top of the swings. It was Mugglewump the monkey. "Run!" Mugglewump shouted to the children. "All of you, run, run, run! That's not the seesaw. It's the enormous crocodile and he wants to eat you up." The children screamed and ran for their lives. Mugglewump disappeared back into the jungle. The enormous crocodile was left alone in the playground. He cursed the monkey and waddled back into the bushes to hide, getting hungrier and hungrier. "I will have to eat at least 4 children now before I am full up." The enormous crocodile crept around the edge of the town, taking great care not to be seen. He came to a place where they were getting ready to have a fair. There were slides and swings and dodging cars and people selling popcorn and candy floss. There was also a big roundabout. The roundabout had marvelous wooden creatures for the children to ride on. There were white horses and lions and tigers and mermaids with fishes' tails and fish and dragons with red tongues sticking out of their mouth. "Now for clever trick number 3, said the enormous crocodile, licking his lip, known as licking. He crept up to the roundabout and put himself between a wooden lion and a fearsome dragon. He sat up a bit on his back leg and kept very still. He looked exactly like a wooden crocodile on the roundabout. Soon all the children came flocking into the fair. Several of them ran towards the roundabout. They were very excited. "I'm going to ride on a dragon," cried one. "I'm going on a lovely white horse," cried another. "I'm going on a lion," cried a third one. And one girl whose name was Jill said, "I'm going to ride on that funny old wooden crocodile." The enormous crocodile kept very scared. The girl coming towards him. "Yum, yum, yum," he thought. "I'll gulp her easily up in one gulp." Suddenly there was a swish and a swoosh and something came swishing and swooshing out of the sky. It was the roly-poly bird. He flew round and round the roundabout singing, "Look out, Jill, look out, look out. Don't ride that crocodile." Jill stopped and looked. "That's not a wooden crocodile, that's a real one. It's the enormous crocodile from the river and he wants to eat you up." Jill turned and ran. So did all the other children. Even the man who was working the roundabout just jumped off it and ran away as fast as he could. The enormous crocodile cursed the roly-poly bird and waddled back into the bushes to hide. "I'm so hungry now. Could eat 6 children before I am full up." Just outside the town, there was a pretty little field with trees and bushes around it. This was called the picnic place. There were several wooden tables and long benches. People were allowed to go there to have a picnic at any time. The enormous crocodile crept over to the picnic place. There was no one in sight. "Now for clever trick number 4, he whispered to himself. The lovely bunch of flowers and arranged it on one of the tables. On the same table, he took away by one of the benches and by the bushes. Then he put himself in the place where the bench had been. By tucking his head under his chest and twisting his tail out of sight, it made him look much like a long wooden bed with 4 legs. So 2 boys and girls came along carrying baskets of food. They were all one family, and their mother had said they could go out and have a picnic together. "Which table shall we sit?" said one. "Let's take the one with the lovely flowers on it," said another. The enormous crocodile kept as quiet as a lump. "I shall eat them all," I said to them. Then they would come and sit on my back, and I would swing my head around quickly, and after that it'll be swish, squish, cluck, crunch, roll up. Suddenly a deep voice from the jungle sounded, "Stand back, children! Stand back! Stand back!" The children stopped and stared at the place where the voice was coming from. The children stopped, and then, with a crashing of the branches, Chunky the elephant came rushing out of the jungle. "That's not the bench you are going to sit on," he bellowed. "The enormous crocodile, and he wants to eat you up." Chunky trotted over to a spot where the enormous crocodile was standing. Quick as a flash, he wrapped his trunk around the crocodile's tail, and he hoisted him up in the air. "Hey, let me go!" yelled the crocodile. "Let me go! Let me go!" "No, I will not let you go. You've had quite enough of your clever trick." Tricky began to swing the crocodile round and round the air. At first he swung him slowly, then he swung him faster and faster and faster still. Suddenly Chunky let go of the crocodile's tail, and the crocodile went shooting high up into the sky like a huge green rocket. Up he went, higher and higher, faster and faster. He was going so fast when the earth was just a tiny dot miles below. He was on and on. He was far into space. He was past the moon. He was past the star and planet, until at last, with the most tremendous bang, the enormous crocodile crashed headfirst into the hot sun. He was sizzled up like a sausage. The end. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe for more book scattered stories. Bye-bye.